Hey, it's Friday, and this weekend we set the clocks back, fall back, 1 hour. So I thought we would talk about what that means and how it affects us and what we can do to maintain our wellness through this time change. So here's a couple of things. First of all, we've been in this mode that we call daylight saving. We have not really been saving daylight, but that's what we call it, daylight saving. And you've been in this habit of whatever your routine has been since last spring. You go to bed when you go to bed and you snooze through the night, whatever your habits are, behaviors are, and you're getting up at some point the next day to do what you need to do. Hopefully you're engaging with wellness activities to set you up for success with your day. Let's say, for the sake of this discussion, that you go to bed at about 9:30, 10 p.m., maybe 10:30, and you snooze really well through the night, and you typically get up at 6 o'clock a.m. You do what you need to do in the morning, and then you go off to whatever your commitment is. Let's say you have to be at work by 8 a.m. So you snooze through the night, you get up at 6 a.m., you do your things, and you arrive at work at 8 a.m. That's your routine. Now, this Sunday at 2 a.m., the clock magician sets the clock back 1 hour. So at 2 a.m., so here you are, your usual pattern, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., you're getting up, right? Well, now 2 a.m. magically becomes 1 a.m. You keep snoozing, it's 2 a.m., it's 3 a.m., it's 4 a.m. on the clock. For you, it's 5 a.m., 6 a.m., this is when you would usually be getting up, which is actually 5 a.m. on the clock now, 5 a.m. sun time. We're lined up with the sun now. So if you wait to get up at 6 a.m., you're actually getting up at 7 a.m. daylight saving. So that's where you pick up this extra hour of sleep. Maybe you should just get up at 5 a.m., which would be your usual time to get up, and then you would have an extra hour of wake time before you have to be at work, right? Because you would wake up at 5 a.m. by the clock, you'd have 6 a.m., 7 a.m. You don't need to be at work until 8 a.m., which is 9 a.m. daylight saving time. So Saturday, 9 a.m. On Sunday, that same time is 8 a.m. on the clock. What does this mean? We do get an hour back that we gave up last spring. We get it back. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to use it to get an extra hour of sleep? Are you going to use it to get an extra hour of being awake for your morning routine? You get to choose, and it's Sunday morning. So have some flexibility. Let yourself do what serves you best. But think about this. Our circadian rhythm, all of our circadian rhythms, have all been synchronized with this daylight saving clock. And now it's like, wha-bam, they just changed the clock on us. We still have to go to bed, get our sleep, get up and go to work, but things are offset. So you may have questions about what do we do about this time shift and our ability to stay synchronized in a way that serves us well as we go into next week with a clock reset back by 1 hour. So here are some things to think about. If you continue to get up at your normal waking time, it's going to be an hour earlier on the clock. Remember that. So if your normal time daylight saving was to get up at 6 a.m. after Sunday, so say Monday morning, you're getting up at 5 a.m. That's your normal waking time. It just happens to be an hour earlier on the clock. So you're still in your biological rhythm there, and you get an extra hour in the morning of awakeness before you have to go and do your thing. This is the trick to watch out for. On the other end of the day, when we get up here, right? So remember that in here on the inside, this is the time, the sun time that we're on starting Sunday morning at 2 a.m. This is the daylight saving time that we've been on. So if you were typically staying up to 10 p.m., 10:30, right? That's your typical go to bed time. If you stay up till 10 p.m. or 10:30, you're now at 11 p.m. daylight saving time. If you stay up to 11 o'clock on the clock Monday night, you're staying up until midnight daylight saving time. So you're staying up an hour later. So this is the trap you have to be careful of, because that can get you out of whack. So you want to try to stay in sync with things. Why not get up at the same waking time? That's where your circadian rhythm is. That gives you an extra hour in the morning to do the things that you need to do before you go off to work or school or wherever you're going. And then be very careful of staying up that hour later. So if you typically were going to bed at 10 o'clock, you would be going to bed at 9 o'clock on the clock Monday night. That may seem really early to you, so maybe you want to push it to 10 o'clock. Maybe there's some sort of an event that goes on that ends at 9:30 or 10 o'clock and you want to stay up for it. Just keep in mind you're now staying up an hour later. So how do you want to reset things? I would recommend waking up at the same time and being really gentle with yourself and going to bed on the clock a little earlier, so you're still getting the sleep that you need as you adjust to things going into the winter. Those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours. There's some information for you there. I hope it's clear. If you have any questions, reach out. I love this conversation about daylight saving or not saving daylight, but we're on sun time now, which seems to me to be a much more natural way for this human organism to be engaging with time. If you want to reach out, Chrislittle at chrislittlecoaching.com. And you know I love to hear from you.